U.S. market analysis for today, Tuesday the 22nd of December. And today we're going to start out with the crude and natural gas oil price. Basically here it's finally started to make a little bit of an increase. So if you can remember, yesterday it was around 34.50, and it had been there for the whole weekend. And it's finally starting to make a little bit of a recovery up towards 36. So it's still really, really low when you look at the 1 year chart, but it's on its way to recovery. In addition to that, we have the news that JP Morgan Chase agreed to pay $150 million to settle investor claims that Chase hid $6.2 billion in losses, and so that has to do with the whale suit, which apparently was the London whale. Was the guy who was in charge of the chief investment office in London, which was basically turned into a secret hedge fund, and so basically what ended up happening was a group of pension funds accused JP Morgan of turning this London office into a secret hedge fund, and the London whale, or Bruno Ixel, was apparently the leader of the London office. And the UK Financial Conduct Authority originally pursued a fine of £1 million, which is about $1.5 million, but they ended up signing a deal that was a non-persecution agreement that prevents him from being charged by the U.S. prosecutors in exchange for his cooperation. So stock doesn't look like it's suffering too bad just over the last couple days, but we'll see how things work over the next couple of weeks. Since there's not very much news today, so I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk about a company that I really like for a long-term trade, and that's Arrowhead Research Corporation. So Arrowhead Research Corporation is a company that specializes in biotechnology. Basically, what their main product, their number one product right now, is called ARC-520, and what ARC-520 does is it is an RNA interference. It's RNA interference technology. It's basically they call it DPC technology, or I think it's dynamic polyconjugate technology, which Arrowhead actually bought from Roche in 2011. Along with most of Roche's RNA technology. And so basically what the RNA interference is basically the nanotechnology. That's what Arrowhead uses. And Arrowhead uses the nanotechnology as a way to silence or to alter some of these genes so that the genes stop producing the proteins that are necessary to keep certain diseases going. So ARC-520 is specifically for hepatitis B. So the genes that they're trying to silence are specifically hepatitis B genes. And I believe that is actually specifically the HBsAg. Let's see if we can find a little better explanation of that somewhere. Well, I'll just try to do my best to explain it over right now. So basically, HBsAg is the surface antigen, which has to do a lot, I think, with the actual production of the hepatitis B disease. And so basically, Arrowhead has been trying to reduce the HBsAg in their patients as a way to try to this has a little bit of an explanation and some of the writing as well. So this talks about the DPC technology, and basically, let's see if it goes into the HBsAg and this sort of stuff. I can't see it here, but anyway, In addition to that, basically what Arrowhead also did is they purchased a bunch of the assets from Novartis, and so that was another big deal for Arrowhead because they ended up getting more tools to use in their RNA interference tool belt. And one of the things that I think was most interesting was that Novartis really only wanted, I believe it was $10 million in actual cash. And then the rest of the $25 million was actually in shares of Arrowhead. So I think that that's kind of shows how Novartis actually feels about Arrowhead and their ability to pull off the sale of ARC-520 and to have it successfully maybe turn into a functional cure. So basically, let me talk a little bit about what ARC-520 actually has pulled off recently. And so what? Let's go to the Arrowhead website. So what happened was they, with the first chimp that Arrowhead had, the first chimp showed alt flares, which is basically a sign that the immune system is coming back. And part of the hepatitis B disease, what it does is it shuts down the immune system, and so that's how it stops your immune system from actually fighting back against the disease. And so the alt flare was a sign from the first chimp that the immune system was kind of booting back up again, basically, which is what the scientists believe is one of the it's part of the path to the functional cure. And then recently, Arrowhead has also been doing a year-long study with 9 different chimps, and with the end of that, they found that there's a difference basically between. So earlier we were talking about the surface antigen, which is the HBsAg. And let's see if we can find. So basically, this is here we go. So before we were talking about the HBsAg, which is the surface antigen, and in this, basically what the chimp study did was it proved that there's almost 2 different types really of people. Here we go. So there's the HBAG positive and the HBAG negative, and so people that have hepatitis B or chimps that have hepatitis B that are HBAG positive are typically people that are just beginning to have the disease and aren't technically considered chronic hepatitis B, a chronic hepatitis B sickness. And the negative is the chronic hepatitis B. So that's people in the second half of the sickness and people that are generally chronically sick with hepatitis B. So basically, they found in this study that ARC-520 actually affected the chimps differently depending on whether they were HBAG positive or HBAG negative, and that's because the disease changes its main, the predominant form of liver HBV DNA. So in HBAG positive chimps or humans, the predominant form of liver HBV DNA is cccDNA, and so that's ARC-520 was able to lower, I believe, the cccDNA, and actually the numbers were for HBeAg positive. It was in between 1.5 and 2.7 log, which is 96.8% and 99.8% reduction of the HBsAg antigen. So that's definitely it's a big sign that they've been relatively successful in in creating the drug to counter hepatitis B. And then in the HBAG negative, as you can remember, the people that are chronically infected, it was 0.5 log to 0.9 log. So it's not as effective, and that's a 68.4 to 87.4%. So it's not as effective. But what Arrowhead ended up doing actually was creating a secondary drug called that was called ARC-521, which I'm not sure if that's in here, which is specifically supposed to be targeted towards the towards HBAG negative, and So this is all starting to get relatively confusing if you haven't done the actual research, which is what comes in with this forum that I found through Twitter. So there's a couple links here on Twitter if you go to the Arrowhead page, and you can go to here, and this actually shows you all of the different studies that are being done for Arrowhead research, and it shows you if they're completed, it shows you if they're recruiting. Excuse me. It shows you the type of drug that's being used. So this is the ARC-520 drug, and then these are the different types of these. I think it's entavir or tenofovir are the nukes, which is the previous form of treatment for hepatitis B. And so that also shows you the enrollment, how many people are enrolled, what countries it's in, and the other trial details as well as the ID or the clinical trials. So this is also a forum that has educational videos that is specifically targeted towards Arrowhead. And I think this is a great site because I truly believe that Arrowhead is making groundbreaking technology at the moment, and it's really going to create a huge difference for hepatitis B and the people that have it. So let's get back to our talk before. So in the talk about our chimpanzees, let's see if it was this one. Basically, 7 out of the 9 of them ended up showing signs of immune reconstitution. So that's a really, really good sign, and they believe that it's going to lead to, hopefully, to a functional cure, especially because I believe that the immune system in humans is more evolved than it is in primates. So it should be able to help restore itself. It just needs a little bit of a kickstart, hopefully, to be able to restore itself, and hopefully the ARC-520 and ARC-521 will help lead to a functional cure in hepatitis B. And so why is this important? Basically because hepatitis B is a worldwide problem, and just a quick comparison. Pharmacet, who actually helped come up with the cure or the functional cure to hepatitis C, which is less. There's not much of the population has hepatitis C. It's not as aggressive as hepatitis B, and basically, Pharmacet was still able to sell their company for $11 billion to Gilead. So that's a huge portion of money, and Gilead, I think, makes billions of dollars almost per week or per month based upon those drugs. And so the current value of Arrowhead is only around 350 million, and so that is a huge increase if they're actually able to create the functional cure for hepatitis B. And one of the reasons I guess that I'm talking about this is because even the entire finance community is starting to recognize that Arrowhead is making some progress, because yesterday Arrowhead was accepted into the NASDAQ Biotech Index, which shows that they're becoming, hopefully, one of the up-and-coming companies in the biotechnology field. So that is going to be our show today. I highly recommend that you come in and check out this site. Here is the URL just right here, and sign in. And there's also a forum as well. So if you'd like to talk with other investors about Arrowhead, here is, it seems like it's a good place to go to. And so I highly recommend checking this out, and possibly making a long-term investment in Arrowhead, which is similar to what I've done on my Trader TV account. So thank you very much for joining us for today, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Please have a good day and good luck trading.